Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by MMA Veteran Liron Wilson. Liron, how are you?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. Just enjoying my day.
Liron, you were supposed to have a fight June 22nd at War MMA 1. You were supposed to fight Roy Broughton. You suffered an injury during training and will be unable to fight on June 22nd. What exactly is the injury, and how serious is this?
I was at jiu-jitsu, and apparently the doctor thinks I ruptured my bicep. I was putting like a reverse arm bar. I was fighting my way out, and it just popped. I didn't think much of it. It didn't hurt. And each day it gradually got worse. So I went to the sports clinic to see with the doctor, and he did the test, and I was losing strength, and I can't even curl or do a pull-up or shoot an underhook or anything. So I get the MRI next week to see if I need surgery or not.
Now, this was a fight that I was looking forward to, and I think a lot of people were looking forward to, because a lot of people remember you from the Bellator fight you had against Justin Frazier. A lot of people remember you from the Tachi Palace fight you had against Dave Huckabee, and your last 4 fights have all been wins, but they've been against competition that I think Roy Broughton is a little bit better than, and Broughton is kind of comparable to Dave Huckabee and Justin Frazier, so this was kind of a good measuring stick of how far you've come over these last 4 fights. But with that being said, what's the most disappointing part of not getting this fight? Is it not being able to test how you've improved since March of 2012, or is it just not being a part of this card because Nick Diaz Promotions, a lot of hype behind this card? What's the most disappointing part about not being able to compete on the 22nd?
Both of those aspects are disappointing because, this is a big thing. Everybody's looking into it because it's Nick Diaz Promotion, and I'm from Northern California, so that alone is just heartbreaking not to be able to be a part of this card. But also fighting Roy, I think it would have been a good matchup for me because we're fighting at a catchweight at 215, and that was probably better for me because fighting Justin and fighting Huckabee, those guys are big boys. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a small heavyweight. So fighting at a catchweight at 215 was perfect for me. My jiu-jitsu games went up. As you can see from my other fights, anyway, the competition wasn't up to that caliber, I think, of Roy or me. I think I've gotten a lot better in every aspect of my game. So this was going to be my big test. And, it's kind of depressing to train so hard and get to that point. Now I got to sit out for this one. Hopefully I won't need surgery and I can go for the next one.
Now, did they call upon you to sell tickets like most regional shows do? You mentioned that you are a guy from that part of California. You're a local guy. Did they call upon you to sell tickets?
No, they didn't ask me to sell tickets or anything. No, that's like, usually when I fight up north, they ask me to sell tickets, but not this time, so I didn't have to worry about that aspect of the game either, because that's also a headache. So all I had to worry about was training and fighting.
With this fight being canceled, will you still go watch? I mean, just for curiosity, because, this is a new promotion. Will you still go?
I plan on still going. I mean, I'm not close by. I live in Southern California now.
Oh.
But, I got a lot of family up there, and I know some other people, fighters and friends, that are still going to go, so I'm going to catch a ride up there to go to the event. Check it out.
Now, did War MMA, did they say that, they're going to put this fight on hold and maybe make it at a later date, or are they kind of, moved past this? This was just kind of a one-fight type thing where they were just, trying to put it together right now because the timing made sense, or did they leave it open that possibly, we can get this fight rescheduled for a later date?
It's left open. I haven't heard anything back. I informed my agent as soon as I came from the doctor's office, and he's taking care of all that right now. I'm sure we can make this fight happen at a later date. I think we'll both still be willing to fight. I hope they find a replacement for Roy, because I don't want, taking money out of his hand and not being able to compete, because he trained hard for this fight too. So that's why I kind of went to the doctor to double check to make sure my arm was all right or not, and try to give him a couple of weeks' notice so they can find another opponent for him, since I can't fight now.
Now, you've been fighting consistently, basically since the beginning of your career. You usually fight anywhere from 2 to 4 times a year. Is this the first time you've ever had to pull out of a fight?
This is only the second time I had to pull out of a fight. The other time was due to a death in the family, but due to an injury, this is the only time I had to due to an injury.
Now, we don't really know the severity of this injury. It might require surgery, it might not, but you're 40 years old now. You're not exactly old for the game because you started later. I think you were only about 34, 35 maybe when you started competing as a pro in mixed martial arts. You don't have the mileage on your body as the guys who are in your age bracket. You haven't suffered the amount of damage as those guys. Is this something where, it could potentially, hurt you in the aspect of prolonging your career, or do you think that, regardless, surgery, no surgery, it's just a minor setback for you?
I think it's a minor setback. I mean, I've had surgeries before. I mean, I've torn my knee before. I've had 2 scopes and everything, and I always come back better. So I ain't looking at it like such a negative thing. But yes, I am 40 years old. I'm getting up there in age, but like you said before, I haven't taken much damage. Usually my fights are over in the first or second round, win or lose. Usually not going the distance. So I haven't taken that much damage over these few years. So hopefully there's just a mild setback and I can get right back in there before the year's up, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Just curious, why did you decide to get into mixed martial arts, and why did you decide to get into it maybe later than the average guy would start training and fighting in MMA?
Well, I was in football, and I was playing semi-pro football and working in a care providing facility, so I was taking up most of my time, and then I was playing semi-pro and some arena ball, and then one day I was on the internet watching Soccer Robert fight, and I was like, dude, that looks cool. And then I looked more into it. I started taking some classes. I decided to just make a switch.
I see. Now, do you work full-time, or are you a full-time fighter now?
I work part-time. I'm part-time, adjunct professor at the University of Laverne, and also I'm one of the coaches at the UFC gym in Rosemead, and also a coach at Miller Fitness Academy.
Liron, you had one fight for Bellator. You fought against Justin Frazier. You had a 3-fight deal when you signed there. Do you still have a contract with Bellator?
The contract said till October of this year, so if they need me, they'll call me. They were supposed to call me. Well, I got a call that they were going to try to set something for me up when they had that fight out there earlier this year out at Irvine. Mm-hmm. But I guess they couldn't find nobody for me. It couldn't go through. I don't know the details on it, so I'm just kind of sitting there waiting. They give me a call.
Mm-hmm. Well, this would have been your 6th fight since that fight against Justin Frazier. Now, every time you get a fight, every time you sign to fight somewhere else, do you have to get permission for them, or is it just kind of an open contract?
It's an open contract.
I see. You mentioned that you don't really know what is in store for you over these next couple months, but, should you not require surgery, should you be able to heal properly, what's the timetable for a return? Are you, if the doctors clear you and say, hey, lay off it a couple weeks and you can get back, do you have, maybe something lined up? Because you fought consistently for Gladiator Challenge and you fought for King of the Cage in the past. I know they run a lot of shows. Do you have anything lined up that maybe if you don't have to have surgery, you can go to?
Explode Fight Series was trying to offer me a title shot at heavyweight or light heavyweight. I can always call those guys and take that fight at any given time over the summer. I'm just going to wait and see basically what the doctors say and take my choices. I mean, I like fighting on bigger shows, but Explode Fight Series is coming up. They have a lot of good fighters over there lately, so we'll see what happens.
Definitely. Now, Liron, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you would like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
Sponsor-wise, Fun Nutrition, those guys always hook me up with protein and stuff. I'd like to thank those guys. Contract Killer, they always give me gear. Fight Me Clothing, they always hook me up with gear. Gamma O, they always give me nice supplements. There's so many people I could thank, and sponsors and everything. I'd also like to thank my team, Millennia MMA, UFC Gym, University of Laverne, all the places I train at, Miller Fitness Academy, all the people over there I work with, and all the fighters I train, all the people that help me out. Thanks.
Liron, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it, and I wish you the best. I hope you heal up very quickly so we can see you back in the cage very soon.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.